The story of Venezuela is a long and complex one. A big story that goes from its first people to the big problems it faces today. It's a history full of huge changes, where times of amazing hope have often been followed by really tough times. To understand Venezuela now, we need to look back through the years, seeing the strong currents of its past. This journey starts with the many different native groups who first lived here, long before Europeans showed up. Their world changed forever when Spain took over in the 1500s. This event set up a new society built on taking advantage of people and strict social levels. These old ways from colonial times would have a lasting effect, shaping the country's future for many years. From the ruins of this old system, a strong desire for freedom grew. The fight for independence in the early 1800s was a tough and brave struggle, led by people like Simón Bolívar, who dreamed of a united and rich South America. But independence didn't bring calm. Instead, it brought 100 years of trouble, ruled by powerful local strongmen or caudillos and constant political fights. The new country struggled to create a shared national identity and build stable systems, making it open to internal problems. This long time of trouble set the stage for the next big change, one that would change Venezuela's place in the world and reshape its society from the ground up, all because of one valuable thing. Finding oil in the early 1900s was the most important event in Venezuela's recent history. This black gold brought unbelievable riches, causing fast growth, city development, and the rise of a strong central government. For a while, Venezuela was a shining example of wealth and later, a model of democracy in a region often troubled by dictators. However, this oil wealth was a mixed blessing. It made the country too dependent on one thing, messed up politics, and covered up hidden social problems. The idea of endless wealth eventually broke apart, leading to public unhappiness and making way for a charming leader who promised to get rid of the old ways and start a new kind of revolution. The rise of Hugo Chavez at the end of the 1900s marked another huge change in the country's path. His Bolivarian revolution aimed to help the poor and challenge the powerful political and rich people already in charge. His plans brought big social improvements for many, but also made political divisions worse, broke down democratic systems, and put the economy on a dangerous road. The results of these plans, along with a later drop in oil prices, threw the country into a huge economic and human crisis. The story of Venezuela is therefore not just a bunch of separate events, but a continuous chain where the effects of being taken over, the struggles for freedom, the strange situation of oil wealth, and the promises of populism are all deeply connected. This is a story of differences and what happens because of them. To truly understand the big picture, we need to see it as a long chain of cause and effect. Each big event is like a link made by the one before it and shaping the one that comes after. The choices made during the Spanish colonial time didn't just stay in that period. Creating a society where a small group of rich Europeans, huge landed estates, a large powerless workforce of native people, enslaved Africans directly caused deep unfairness that led to the independence wars. The colonial system's focus on taking resources for a foreign power set up an economic pattern of relying on others that would reappear centuries later with a different product. The independence wars, led by Simón Bolívar, were caused by being treated unfairly and by the spread of new ideas about freedom. After the fight, a country broken up politically and weak economically led to trouble in the 1800s. No strong central government allowed local strongmen to rise, each ruling like a personal kingdom. This fighting blocked stable democracy and a strong national economy. Politics became about one person and power struggles, a legacy that hindered fair laws for over a century. The pattern continued when the oil age arrived. Poverty and political trouble made early 1900s leaders eager to accept foreign oil wealth. They saw oil as a fast path to modernization and power. Oil money made the government stronger, build roads, build buildings, and fund wide social programs. But oil wealth brought new problems. The state lived off oil money, became less answerable to citizens, and the economy depended on world oil prices. This dependence explains what came next. Punto Fijo democracy in 1958 aimed to move past dictatorships and manage oil wealth better. It brought decades of stability. When oil prices crashed in the 1980s, the system's weak points were exposed. That led to a severe economic crisis and growing public unhappiness with old parties. That unhappiness helped bring Hugo Chavez to power, a political outsider promising to break old chains. His revolution and the current crisis are the latest links in this long chain of cause and effect. Well, it's all connected. The story of Venezuela is therefore one of things happening again and again, a big cycle of huge promise followed by great danger. The timeline isn't a simple straight line, but a more complex, often sad story. It begins before Columbus, rich and varied native cultures violently stopped by the Spanish conquest in 1498. A colonial system then lasted over 300 years, creating social and economic structures still felt today. The search for independence around 1810 promised a new beginning, freedom and equality for all. That promise was incredibly hard to keep. The 1800s became a time of danger, constant civil wars ruled by strong men, which blocked a modern government. People focused on just keeping the fragile country together. That long struggle made many long for a strong leader to bring order and wealth. The oil boom of the 1900s was the biggest promise in Venezuela's history. From the 1920s, the country was flooded with seeming endless wealth. Cities grew, literacy improved, a new middle class emerged. For a while, Venezuela was the envy of Latin America. But inside that promise was a new danger: dependence on one product. The national plan became tied to changing oil prices. When oil prices were high, the country prospered. When they fell, trouble followed. The boom and bust cycle hid deep unfairness and weak institutions. In recent decades, the story shifts again. Punto Fijo democracy, 1958-1998, promised to manage oil wealth through a stable two-party pact. It worked for a time. Then corruption and exclusion grew, leading to the crisis that brought Hugo Chavez to power in 1999. Chavez's Bolivarian revolution promised social fairness and national control. But that promise has become a profound danger. A full economic collapse, a massive human crisis, and millions leaving the country. To understand how Venezuela reached this point, we must follow this thread of promise and danger through each chapter. Yeah, that's the main idea.